But really, I think I have the easiest job today here at the symposium, just welcoming our esteemed speakers onto the stage. I think we're all really excited to hear the different presentations that we'll receive on the exciting work that's being done by our different colleagues in the different clusters and divisions in the CSIR. We're going to have 3 sessions during the course of the day. All of them will be in this venue. We'll start with a health and biomedical session, which will be chaired by Dr. Nobuhle Majozi, which would start around 9:15 after the opening remarks. And then we'll have a break around 10:15, where there are some posters that are on display. Please do engage with the content of the posters, speak to the researchers to find out what it is that they've been working on. And then we'll have a second session, also a continuation on health and biomedical, which will be chaired by Dr. Cindy Swabutelezi, starting around 11:15. And then we'll have lunch between 12:15 and 1:20. Then we'll have the afternoon shift. I hope we're all still awake and energized for that session. I know it's usually termed the graveyard session because we're all full and have heard numerous presentations at that point in the day. But this will be the biotech and energy session, which will be chaired by Yonela Tukwayo, and that will take us to about 3:20. And then there'll be a last opportunity for all of us to engage again with the posters that are in the exhibition area outside in the foyer. So without wasting any further time, I'd like to call on Dr. Tshepo Tsekwa, who's a chief researcher here at the CSIR, to do the opening remarks for us.
I don't know if I need this. I hope you can see me without it. You can't see? Pinda, that's very rare because I think I've been on this podium a few times. So thank you very much, Sanelo, for the introduction, and thanks for the invitation. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. So I was on the agenda as far as I knew, Nokwanda and Pinda, as for welcoming remarks, but I see now it's a plenary address. So I'll stretch it out a bit, but don't be too alarmed by what I'm about to tell you, and don't be too shocked. But we'll get there, and you'll realize that, in actual fact, I'm not being too disruptive or naughty. But I'll start by telling you that almost 18 years ago to the day, I think I started at the CSIR on the 1st of September in 2007. And now I was at the time a slightly smaller, maybe narrower postdoc in the old biosciences unit. And at the time, postdocs were actually designated candidate researchers. So you can imagine, at the time I arrived, I think I had a total of 3 papers to my name, and so I think I had no clue what a technology demonstrator, the famous output from Mary Nodia, is. I had no clue, like many of us coming from academia, what TRL stands for, and so I could say that at the time I was very firmly and unambiguously an emerging researcher of the CSIR, like many of you here today. And so the very next year, maybe the next year or two, the very first Emerging Researchers Symposium was actually launched. And I remember very well participating. I gave a presentation on plasmodium proteomics. I used to work where a couple of my colleagues here are working now in the proteomics area of the CSIR. And then a year later, I also then participated as part of the committee reviewing some of the submissions and also awarding posters. So you can imagine that I'm very pleased and very honored, and it's quite a pleasure having climbed through the ranks from firmly an emerging researcher to be now giving these opening remarks. It's listed as a plenary, it's not, it's just a few opening remarks just to set the scene. It's really an honor, having climbed through the ranks as a chief researcher, to be here, and I hope you'll appreciate the few words I have. So I did say at the beginning that you shouldn't be too alarmed, and I think that the HC colleagues who invited me will excuse the one word I'll use in my introduction, and I ask also for Tsanelo's apologies as the MC for what I'm about to say. The point is that in the 17 years I've been at the CSIR, I've learned the subtle art of not giving a... Can I say it? I'll say it only once and then I'll tone it down. I've learned the subtle art, it's going to get me in trouble. The subtle art of not giving a fuck. And I'll say it only once, and I apologize, my colleagues. I can see, please don't be too alarmed. I'm going to call it not giving an F from now on, just so that, I've been naughty once, and I'll leave it at that. But the remarks are not really about laziness or apathy. They're not about you not caring at all about your work. What I wanted to say is really about focus, values, and choosing very precisely where to invest your limited time and energy and your limited passion as an emerging researcher at the CSIR. So it's a lesson I found powerfully captured. I could realize as I was saying what I was saying, that some of you might have read the book that inspired my remarks this morning. There's a very nice book I read recently that talks, and it's titled The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And it's quite a powerful book, and as I read it, you realize that some of the tips in there, some of the guidance is very relevant to what we do as researchers, and certainly as emerging researchers at the CSIR. So the book almost perfectly sums up what research, development, and innovation at the CSIR is about and what it teaches us every day. There are 3 lessons. The book is quite extensive with many different chapters, but there are 3 lessons that capture, in essence, what I believe we can learn from not giving an F. So the first lesson, and I've alluded to this already, is that it's very, very important to choose what to care about. When I was an emerging researcher that many 17 or 18 years ago, it was the inclination is to care about everything, to want to do everything. You want every experiment to work, every reviewer to like your paper, every proposal to get funded. I spoke about the TDs. You want every TD to be accepted by the elusive technology demonstrator panel of the CSIR. And you tend to believe that that's what serious scientists must do, and that's what it must take to climb the ladder. But, like in life, if you care about too many people, or if you care about everything, at work, you end up quite literally caring about nothing. You're spread too thin. You chase every opportunity, stress about every criticism that could be viewed as feedback. And truly speaking, it's not productive to chase every opportunity because you burn out before you even hit your stride. So it's very, very important that you follow the subtle art of choosing carefully which problems are worth solving, which collaborations are worth building, which sacrifices are worth making. And you'll always have problems in R&D and in research. It's actually the nature of the job, and the issue is not for you to avoid those problems. It's for you to direct your attention and passion to solving the right ones. So the bottom line here is that stop giving an F, and I'll let you say it in your mind because I'm going to get in more trouble if I keep repeating these words. Stop giving an F about everything and start giving attention to the right things. The second lesson, and they're all interrelated in some ways. The second lesson is around redefining success. And if one had been told this as a 29-year-old researcher just starting out at the CSIR, success, even on the career ladders that we pursue so much, is not necessarily about the number of committees you sit on, how many acronyms you can decode, etc. It's probably more about aligning your work with what values, with values that matter. Values that matter to you, values that matter to the community around you, values that matter to the CSIR strategy, but more importantly, values that matter to South Africa. Because of course, and I'll talk to this later, the key part of our mandate is to improve the lives of South Africans and the continent in general. Because too often we confuse activity and looking busy with achievement. We chase these titles, awards, committee seats, or the appearance of being busy, but none of those on their own build a real legacy. So in my view and in my experience, the real success has come by the knowledge we've generated, and very importantly, the capacity you build, because you can't grow and climb alone. As you climb, remember that if you're leaving those that work with you and are surrounding you behind, you're actually probably defining success in the wrong way. And this is where our CSIR strategy is quite clear. The mandate for us to do science and technology that strengthens South African industry and improve people's lives means that our projects, partnerships, and innovations should always connect back to the real-world outcomes. And so, for me, enabling industries to grow, to compete, to innovate, making real change and impact in society is what success really, truly is about. And I'll touch a little bit about the evolution of the career ladder. It's a painful word for some of us, but recently the emergence of the new RDL in actual facts aligns very, very well to this, because it gives you many more opportunities and many more paths to define your success as you grow at the CSIR. And it really, truly reflects the shift. We've heard about the sign-up strategy. Sign-up was a program to move to the industrial support strategy, but the new RDL then aligns to this and reflects this very shift. It's no longer about how many papers you've published only or how many committees you've sat on. It's also about how your work aligns with this mission to translate research into impact and building industrial partnerships and solving these very big national challenges that can create impact in society. So I mean, I guess it might sound like redefining success is a high-level thing that sits somewhere far. It's a philosophical question and advice from me. It's actually quite practical, because if you, first of all, choose what to care about, as I alluded to in the first idea, and you redefine what success means for you in alignment to this big mandate that we pursue, you actually will find growth, particularly with this new evolving RDL ladder. When you stop giving Fs about these superficial metrics and start giving them to real impact, you will truly see your career accelerate, and that's my experience, and that's how, from candidate to chief, I found the path. So the last lesson, and this one is a bit brief, is that, I mean, failure is part of the game. And every one of us faces failure in all parts of life. Certainly at work, we face a lot of failure. We know about the elusive reviewer number 2. When you submit publications, reviewer number 2 is always ridiculous. And they may find your work interesting, but not significant. We suffer many proposal rejections. Fundraising at the CSIR is part of what we do and what we must do to be sustainable. And you have to have a thick skin, and you must be able to be resilient to heartbreak, because the vast majority of submissions we make will be rejected. And the nice thing is that it's okay to fail. The TD panel may reject your TDs quite often. Huge projects even come to a halt and stall, but that's part of what we do. In actual fact, I believe that we can confidently say research, development, innovation is actually driven by failure, because what might appear as failure and what might be received as failure is just feedback. It's just data. It's quite interesting that unexpected results, or results that may seem unwanted, are actually results that then redirect and guide what to do next, and actually result in you reaching that outcome that you might have wanted. So if you only care about never failing, you'll never try anything bold, and only pursuing safe science, overly safe science, I think it will rarely change the world, and we will rarely reach the impact that we're actually pursuing as CSIR scientists. So think about the breakthroughs we celebrate: new technologies, great green innovations, partnerships with government and industry. All of them were built on countless failures. What mattered wasn't avoiding this failure, but learning from it, persisting through it, and keeping sight of the mission. So, as I've said, we've had many, many failures. We have freezer breakdowns, we have rejections, and then sometimes even betrayals by your colleagues and partners. It's all part of learning, and the joy of reaching these big breakthroughs, the joy of mentoring brilliant young scientists like yourselves and seeing our work and its place makes all of the failure quite worthwhile. And that's the third and last lesson. I've taken a very long and very inspirational book and tried to break it down into just these 3 lessons. And so as you embark on your own journeys as emerging researchers, the bottom line and the advice I wanted to share was that don't give your energy to distractions, don't measure yourself by the wrong yardsticks, and don't be afraid to fail. Rather, fail loudly, bravely, and with purpose, and you will actually reach the goal of growth and making impact as a CSIR emerging researcher. So give your Fs, and I won't say that word again, give your Fs carefully and selectively to the science, partnerships, and the problems that, even when solved, will make a real difference in people's lives. So colleagues, with these few words, I welcome you to the Emerging Researchers Symposium 2025. I know there's a theme, and the theme was, at least in the guiding notes I received, was written out as 80 years of innovation, showcasing the next generation of research, development, and innovation. And so while the CSIR celebrates 80 years of groundbreaking work, the next 80 years are shaped by all of us in this room, the emerging researchers of the CSIR that we would like to see. Surely in less than 17 years, I took too long. In 5, 10 years at the helm and leading this wonderful organization towards innovation. And the key thing is that you, as the next cohort of innovators, you must choose wisely where you focus your time, your passion, and your brilliance. So I wish you well in this symposium, and I wish you well in your session. Some of you expressed a sense of nervousness as I was having a chat. It's no big deal. We are all friends, and I think that the Emerging Researchers Symposium is a wonderful training grounds where you hone your skills in presentation in a wonderful, high-profile venue, but with friends surrounding you. So I wish you all the best with your sessions, and if there are prizes, I don't know, if there are prizes at the end, I wish you well in getting that nice outcome. Thank you very much.
You see now, we've got different problems. Dr. Tsekwa took my step. Now I don't know if you guys can see me. No, it's fine. Don't worry. Yeah, if I'm audible, it's okay. But really, thank you for sharing the wisdom that you've shared with us, both on your reflections, going from an emerging researcher yourself in the CSIR to where you've progressed as a chief researcher, which is where I think a lot of us would like to see ourselves as we progress through the CSIR and work on all of the exciting research that we're doing in our different areas. In isiZulu, they say indlela ibuzwa kwabaphambili, which loosely translated means that we learn from the wisdom of those that have gone before us. And I think you really shared some pearls of wisdom with everybody that's in the room today, including from that book, which has a word in the title that I will not repeat. And so really thank you for the practical wisdom that you've shared, and I hope all of us will carry the words that you've shared with us long after the symposium, even as we may get frustrated by that career ladder, that we'll stick to stick to the course. There's three things that I also just wanted to share before we get into the first session. Just to let you know that we are streaming the session on CSIR New Media, which is on YouTube. There is also a QR code by the registration desk. If you can, please, during the breaks, just make sure that you're scanning that QR code so that we are able to capture everybody that was in attendance today. And then the third announcement that I just wanted to make was a reminder. I'm sure you are aware, but the CEO, Dr. Dlamini, will be with us tomorrow morning to just share some insights. So I really would encourage that we are on time for tomorrow's sessions. We did start a little bit late today, but if we can, please just try to be on time tomorrow for the CEO's remarks. So that leaves me now with handing over to Dr. Nobuhle Majozi for the first session on health and biomedical, which is to run until around 10:15. I really do hope that we all engage with the presentations that we'll be receiving, and good luck to all the speakers. Like Dr. Tsekwa said, no need to be nervous. You're an expert in your field, and we're all really excited to hear about the work that you've been doing. Thank you.